What do we have for Sag? The world, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius energy at the foundation of the reading, Sag. Sag, the download that I got for you was that the universe is conspiring to make your manifestations a reality, however that is showing up for you in your current set of circumstances. I feel that a path is being laid out before you, Sag, and the reason for this is because of some sort of cycle that you have closed out in your life. You may be feeling an increase in support energetically around you, as if things are just beginning to flow with a little bit more ease. The world is showing us here that you're on the precipice of stepping through this threshold. We're looking at you like we're a fly on the wall as you're stepping through this new portal into this new chapter of your life. Some of you have already stepped through, some of you are just beginning down this path, and some of you are preparing to step through. So no matter where you are on the timeline, this energy is available to all of you. This can speak about some sort of a goal, some sort of accomplishment, which is allowing you to begin integrating this new chapter into your life. It's as if you had to go through some sort of a test, Sag, but it feels spiritual. It feels energetic. It can most definitely be showing up inside your waking life as well. It typically does. It will trickle down into kinds of circumstances that we have to overcome in our waking life to achieve whatever this is here. But whatever this is representing for you, it's coming right out the gates at the beginning of this reading. And again, this goes along perfectly with the downloads that I received for you. So this is telling us that we are right on top of this energy, Sag. Too many cards. What do we have the sacral, please? Wow. 5 of Swords. Aquarius energy at the sacral. 7 of Cups in reverse, Scorpio energy at the solar plexus. I'm picking up some sort of an outside energy here with this 5 of Swords. This could be somebody that you were in some sort of conflict with, Sag. It seems to be that there's an end to this. It's as if they can't pull the wool over your eyes anymore with this 7 of Cups in reverse at the solar plexus. 7 of Cups is all about confusion and just an energy of smoke and mirrors, but it's as if you can see through this now. You're not allowing this to make you feel small or make you feel blocked. Again, some sort of cycle is closed out with this individual, for those that this resonates with, where they're not able to drain you of your energy, of your power, of your time and resources anymore. For some of you, this could have to do with a broken marriage, some sort of family dynamic, a friendship. Take it as it fits, but as you can see here, it's like this person has burned it all down. And I actually don't feel this is you that burned it all down, Sag. I just heard that this is somebody that sacrificed their own integrity as a means to try and sink you, is what I just heard. Very interesting. I've never even said that phrase before, but it does make sense. You know, I feel that they didn't expect you to come back out on top. It's as if you put it all back together, but better, Sag. Oh, I just heard that for some of you, this is a Sag you're dealing with. So this reading is going to be for Sages, and it's going to be for cross-watchers. You take it as it fits, okay? Some of you are obviously on the positive side of this, and you're a Sag, or some of you are on the positive side of this, and you're a cross-watcher dealing with the Sag, okay? So there's no rules to how this may pertain to your own current set of circumstances. It's really whoever catches this reading. You don't even need to be a Sag. You're dealing with the Sag. If it resonates, it resonates. I felt like this person kept you stuck with a lot of, again, smoke and mirrors for quite some time here, Sag. I don't know why I'm hearing something about 7 years. It's like they tied you down for 7 years, or they kept you from something, or maybe somebody else for 7 years. Maybe this is somebody who took you away from somebody else. That's going to resonate with some of you. I don't feel a large group of you, but there is a group of you out there that are dealing with somebody who knocked you off your path and derailed you from something that you were moving towards. I also feel that distance has allowed you to see the truth. I always speak about this when you remove yourself from these kinds of cycles, right? And we can call them karmic cycles, but you can't really see what you're dealing with, right? When you're engaged in it. You can't gain that higher perspective over your circumstances and what it may look like through the eyes of the universe. But where you're at now, or where you're going, you're starting to gain that clarity. You're starting to gain that perspective. This can be quite shocking when this happens, because you start to see who it was or what it was that you were dealing with. And then you start to blame yourself, or maybe beat yourself up because you didn't do anything about it sooner, or you failed to notice it the way you do now. And that's where forgiveness in self comes in, right? You didn't understand. You didn't have that perspective. And that's okay, Sag. We all deal with this. We're only human, and none of us are perfect. By design, we are flawed. And this matrix that we live in, this everyday grind that we all have to deal with, definitely does not make it any easier on us. Life is one big test. It's all a challenge. Sometimes when I think about the afterlife and transitioning on from this three-dimensional density, I think about us waking up in these pods, right? Rising up out of a kind of slumber, only to realize we're in the middle of a game show, right? People cheering. You're still trying to rebalance your mind and calibrate and come back to sorts, right? Kind of like when you wake up from a dream and there's that moment where you have that lapse of who you are, where you are, lapse of memory. That's what I'm getting here. And it's like you wake up inside a game show only to realize that our entire life is a test, a game. Now, this is nothing new. People have been saying for many, many years that life is a kind of game, life is a kind of test. And I kind of like that. Right? It's kind of fun when you think about it like that, because what I've personally experienced around thinking about my own life in this mindset is a tremendous increase in self-confidence and a peeling away of all of the fears that want to keep us in a stuck and stagnated kind of energy. Oh, I just heard the layers of fear, right? So it speaks about what I said in regards to peeling back the fear. Fear is layered. Our entire reality is based in fear. Everywhere we turn, there's something new that we're seemingly supposed to be scared of. But I think the message here is, Sag, fear in and of itself is a complete illusion. It doesn't even exist. It's a paradox of the mind. Understanding the mind paradox requires accepting that the mind is like a dream and that reality cannot be grasped by the mind. So in saying that, it's like people who fear spread fear. Now I know why we trailed off into all of this, Sag. It was to only bring us full circle. So you have an understanding here of this energy you're dealing with. They're in fear. They're scared. That's why they do what they do. It's just like people who have abandonment issues. Abandon people. What do we have at the heart, please? 8 of Cups. Pisces energy at the heart. Wow. People who fear spread fear. Drinking their own poison. I just heard Ouroboros. This is so incredibly deep and interesting. Now I'm thinking back to this world here, which is the cycle. See, it's cyclical in nature, and this is Ouroboros, right? Depicts the snake devouring its own tail. This is what you've moved on from. A cyclical cycle, a karmic cycle. And this is the perspective, what I'm speaking about here. This is what you're starting to notice now. I'm hearing something about NPCs, right? You start to look back at these individuals as NPCs, non-player characters, which are, well, for those of you that don't know what an NPC is, if you've seen The Matrix, they're like the Agent Smiths, or they're just kind of like zombies, right? They're the people that are asleep inside this kind of matrix that we live in, right? They're not awakened the way you are. They're not aware. They don't have a higher understanding like all of you have out there. They're very boxed in and have a very narrow way of thinking. And typically speaking, these people are completely lacking in any sort of faith and hope. These are the people simply put, that are on the hamster wheel of life. And what we're seeing here is you finally seen the forest for the trees because you have removed yourself from this situation. And this brings with it a kind of shock, like I said, right? The need for you to forgive yourself because you start to understand what it was you were truly dealing with. And there's a sense of, how did I not see this sooner? How was I not awakened to this? But Sag, what you have to understand is you were meant to go through this cycle, right? I deal with this all the time when I think back on my own path and all of the mistakes that I've made throughout the course of my life and trying to figure out what I was thinking in those moments. I just didn't know any better. I should have, but I didn't. So I look back on those younger versions of myself now, and because I'm satisfied with where I've gotten to in my life, it allows me to be able to forgive that past version of myself. And that really speaks about what success might really mean to you. For me personally, it's getting to a place spiritually and emotionally where I'm free and I'm not confined by the trappings of my past. And this is really what I'm getting here for you as well, Sag. I mean, there's a lot of water on this table. We have the 7 and 8 of cups here. You overcame this illusion. You refused to drink the poison any further. I mean, this is the energy here of an individual who's manifested themselves onto a timeline where they're having to eat their own words, drink their own poison. And for a lot of you, we're looking at the energy of this opposing force, this individual, these people. But I'm not surprised because this is how divine law unfolds, Sag. You have to step into your power, your new beginning, your purpose, take it as it fits for you, in order for the rebalancing to take place. There can't be this tipping of the scales unless you want it, right? Because of free will. Switch decks again. What do we have at the throat, please? 9 of Wands. Sag, that is your energy at the throat. Follows everything we said perfectly. 7, 8, 9. Now we're seeing, well, whenever I look at this card, I feel like there's two people waiting for an elevator, right? It's like this guy's looking at the numbers, right? Checking to see if the elevator's gotten to your floor yet. And then here you are, Sag, right? Kind of beat up. And I feel this is a representative of the divine, right? Your spirit guides, your spirit team, your ancestors. Take it as it fits, right? And it's like you're being escorted out of this cycle. This is the graduation. And the 9 of Wands is an energy of, well, it's keeping your distance, right? It's like you're finally keeping a boundary from this energy here. For some of you, this person drinks a lot. I mean, it's obvious what's going on here. And here you are, right? Looking back with this perspective now, like, oh my God, I never even really saw it before. I was just too caught up. I didn't see how much of a mess this person really is. Can't even believe I was attracted to them, or I can't even believe I was friends with them, or I can't even believe that I allowed that family member to drain me of my energy and life force for as long as they did. What do we have at the third eye, please? 6 of Pentacles, Taurus energy at the third eye. Sag, I just heard very clearly you are in concert with the divine, okay? And the 6 of Pentacles in a reading like this really confirms that. Because this is a rebalancing, right? He's got the scales there. And I feel like this is the divine doling out your spiritual inheritance or your support, right? For all the work you've put in so far on your path. Now, this can also speak about what I mentioned at the beginning of the reading in regards to feeling an increase in support. This confirms that at the third eye. 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Something major is unfolding here, Sag. It is all over this energy. And to get the world at the beginning of this 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is very profound. There's some sort of ending to something here with this 5 of Swords, right? It's a kind of termination. Then the 6 of Pentacles, which is support from the divine. For having put the hard work into overcoming these illusions that this trickster, I didn't even mean to say trickster, that just completely slipped out of my mouth, but we'll go with it, that this trickster put on your path. This person could have been trying to sell you a dream, or maybe they did sell you a dream, but then you started to see things differently, Sag. You started to feel very unfulfilled, very disappointed with the path that you were on. And this is when this 8 of Cups and 9 of Wands took place, or I feel this could be taking place for a lot of you right now, right? The realization. The veil is parted. You start to see this person for who they really are, or this situation. For some of you, this could even be a behavioral pattern, something that you're overcoming. Could be addictions. Take it as it fits. But no matter what it is, it's all a part of this cycle that's closing out as a means to begin the awakening process to step into this new chapter of your life. What do we have? The Crown, please. Wow. The Sun, Leo energy at the Crown. The Sun's the most high vibrational, positive card in the tarot. And it follows what I said beautifully, because this is representing this new chapter in your life. For some of you, this cycle you're moving on from, you stayed in longer than you had to, right? Maybe that's where the forgiveness needs to come in at. There's some sort of fear or uncertainty attached to this. This is very common. I see this all the time when I'm doing readings for people. Very rarely do people get the message, right? That intuitive hit from the divine that you need to leave now and actually put action behind it. People hesitate. It's just human nature. The reason for this is because, again, our reality is constructed in a way that's constantly breaking up the signal between ourselves and source. So we get the messages, right? We get the downloads, but there's a delayed reaction in us putting action behind the downloads, the intuitive guidance. And you also start to notice, once you cross through this portal, that there was many times in your past that you were guided to make a change, but you became overwhelmed with the everyday grind and just the reality of living life. This becomes very clear to you. I can look back on my path now, and there was these very specific times when Source was absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, working in my life to wake me up to certain things, and then it would just go away. I speak about this quite often in my readings. They're like little tremors you have, right, before the big awakening, which can be seen as like the big earthquake. Earthquakes and awakening are very similar in that your foundation is most definitely being rocked back and forth. There's a lot of uncertainty. The ground is shaking beneath your feet. And I mean, let's face it, what's more terrifying than that? Nothing. So in saying all that, Sag, I feel that you're going to find yourself thinking back if you haven't already. This is very normal. In fact, this is another way that you can begin to understand just how far you've come. I think that when you have those memories compounded with that forgiveness, right? It's these things working together that show you how far you've truly come, Sag. And with all of that illumination and realization comes a tremendous recognition of just how far you've come and how much you have grown. What do we have at the foundation, please? Oh, wow. Death. Lucifer. At the foundation of the reading, right underneath that world card. So it's like you're stepping through the portal, right? Getting ready to step into this new chapter of your life. You look back and you see this little baby demon cherub sitting on this pile of skulls right? I feel that this is really representing you seeing things in a different way now, in a way that you didn't see before, right? This energy, like, I didn't see it before. Why couldn't I see it? It was right in front of my face. How could I be so blind? This death card from this deck, it's representing stagnation, inertia. It's just an overall energy of just being stuck, right? Stuck inside this cyclical cycle with this individual here, this NPC, right? It's like this whole cycle was meant to keep you from something that's on your path. It's going to show up differently for all of you, but usually the reason why we find ourselves in these cycles is because these individuals are sent by some sort of opposing force or energy that is trying to keep us from something. And when you think about it in that way, you start to truly understand the importance of your path. Now, there's no telling what it is that you may be being kept from, because again, it's going to be different for each and every one of you, and there's going to be different levels to this, right? But my belief, my understanding of how life works is that the universe needs us in very specific locations at very specific times, right? Allocated positions. I always speak about this. And when we're in those particular positions, it creates kinds of domino effects. There's just no telling how that might affect the collective at large. So, in saying that, the most important thing is to try and stay as connected to source as possible, so you are always doing your absolute best to make sure that you're in that allocated position. And typically speaking, when you start to think about it from this higher kind of perspective, you will naturally start to avoid any sort of energies that create this stagnation on your path. You start to realize that there's a much bigger plan, and that it's very important that we stay obedient to what that plan is and not get caught up inside the matrix of our lives. And for people who hear matrix, and they think it's all a bit woohoo, that's fine. But just think about it in terms of resistance, obstacles that we have to face in our path. Matrix is just a kind of blanketed term that covers all of that, right? It covers situations and circumstances that get put on our path to keep us from something. It's a very detailed set of circumstances that is seemingly meticulously crafted from some sort of opposing energy. And when you think about the fact that we're all here for a specific reason, purpose, a mission, well, this suggests that there's most definitely an opposing energy. So, of course, it's going to show up in your life to try and keep you from said destination. Lucifer, underneath the world, at the foundation of the reading, being represented as the opposing energy. What do we have? The sacral, please. Ace of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sag energy, Azazel. So they're really doubling down on this message here, because this particular Ace of Wands is also speaking about setbacks and delays. It's an energy of feeling weighed down by the circumstances inside of this cycle that you are running with this individual, or whatever this may represent for you. Again, it could be behavioral patterns or addictions, okay? This reading can easily be applied to people that are suffering with some sort of dependency, whether it's with some sort of substance or it's psychological. It's a general reading, so it's up to you to place it as you see fit in your own life. But I would go as far as saying that there's not a single individual out there right now that can't do a little better, okay? We can always do better, and at the end of the day, that's what this reading right here is speaking about. Doing better, being better, and seeing the tremendous payoff to doing so. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Nine of Swords. Gemini energy at the solar plexus, and I just heard psychological dependency again. I can speak about this Nine of Swords. See, a lot of these cycles that we get trapped in program us into feeling that we are psychologically dependent to them. I mean, it's not difficult to see how a very toxic relationship can make you feel this way. We get so used to a certain kind of pattern that the thought of breaking that pattern is almost unthinkable, right? Just like breaking an addiction to a substance. But this Nine of Swords is speaking about you overcoming some sort of tormenting energy, Sag, that I feel has just been feeding off of you for far too long. This Nine of Swords is a kind of perspective you're beginning to have, which goes back to what I said earlier on in the reading, right? That perspective initiates the healing. It's the necessary ingredient. It's that moment you step outside the fishbowl that was once your life and you're looking in like you're an onlooker and you just see things a little differently. The colors look different and everything smells a little different. Everything looks different. You're like, what was I thinking? What was I dealing with there? And this is further reiterating that message with this Nine of Swords. This Nine of Swords can also speak about, well, it's one of the energies that represents rehabilitation, right? Whether it's literal or it's spiritual in nature or mental, physical, emotional. You are being upgraded, healed, and rehabilitated and prepared for this new chapter in your life. What do we have at the heart, please? Eight of Wands. Wow. Shadow, Sag energy. And look what it says right there. Slavery, right? It's like you are stuck inside this individual's nightmare, right? Hurt people hurt people. You made yourself a willing participant inside the horrors of this individual's life. We've all been through this at some point in time, right? You know better now, Sag. You know that these dynamics don't work out. It's not up to you. Best thing you can do is remove yourself and step onto your own path and hope that they'll pick up the breadcrumbs. But the only way that these individuals can hear, I meant to say heal, but I was going to follow it up with by hearing the voice of God. So the only way that these individuals can heal is by hearing the voice of God, right? Which speaks about them nurturing a connection with Source. And it doesn't matter who you are. There's nothing you can do to force this individual to seek out that connection, because it's as if they just can't compute. You know, sometimes when I'm speaking to individuals about my own belief systems, or I speak to them in this kind of language that I speak to all of you in, it doesn't compute. They just don't get it. You know, it computes with all of you because you all know what to expect. You understand the language because a lot of you speak it too. But I quite often forget how truly asleep most of the world is. Yeah, there's a massive worldwide awakening taking place, but it's still only a very small percentage of people on this planet. I think I just spoke about this in the last collective reading. You know, 144,000 people, right? Like I said that I mentioned that that's all it takes to create a kind of shockwave, an awakening. That's all it takes to program the virus into the hive mind that snaps people awake and forces them to come online, so to speak. But in saying all of this now, Sag, I feel that you're at this point in your life where you're actually looking back and you're like, man, I lost time. I lost years. I get it, Sag, but you didn't really. In fact, you're right where you're supposed to be. Just be grateful that you're where you're at now. Or if you're not in this position yet, right, this is going to speak to those of you that are just now starting out on this path, stay strong, right? Have faith, because in due time you will understand that this all had to unfold exactly the way it did, because it all comes down to wisdom and discernment that you must collect on your path. Experience. That experience alone is going to serve you in one way or another moving forward into your future. And then we have the Page of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sag energy, propagation of light. So whenever I get this card, it's like this person's very excited, and I'm getting a lot of ringing in my ears right now. It's like you're running towards something. You have this new lease on life, Sag. There's something here that feels very creative about your energy, which speaks about what I just said, right? You implementing this wisdom, this knowledge on your path. You just start to spark ideas left and right with the understanding that if you were not where you are at in this very moment, maybe you wouldn't have had that idea. This happens to me all the time. I'll get this great idea and I have to really stop for a moment and be very grateful for where I'm at in my life, because had I not have been there in that moment, maybe I wouldn't have had that wonderful idea or that download that brings forth some sort of massive change. And for me, a lot of the times it's downloads that I get for these readings that I'm tremendously grateful for because I wait for them. That's why I take my time doing these readings. I don't just pump out readings left and right. There's a lot of care that goes into these. So when the downloads come through, it's a blessing, it's a gift, because I know how many of you out there are going to listen and quite possibly take something positive from it, which is that domino effect I was speaking about. You take something from the reading and then you go out into your own lives with that piece of information and you do something with it. There's no telling how far that download that I got in that moment can be spread. And I say that to give you an example of gratitude, right? Gratitude is so different when it's for things like this: guidance, downloads, ideas, rather than for something material. When gratitude is based on something that you're receiving, spiritually speaking, or by way of your own hope and faith, you're playing in a whole different league, Sag, when you're having gratitude for something that is coming from your spirit and your soul. When you're having gratitude for something that can send shockwave into the collective with a reach that cannot be measured. What do we have at the throat, please? Knight of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the throat. At the throat. Ariel. The revealing God. Perception and revelation. Discovers hidden treasure. Reveals secrets of nature. Discovers hidden treasure. Perception and revelation. I feel like this really follows up what I just mentioned perfectly, right? Knight of Cups is a very introspective kind of energy. It's all about the imagination. See, and this really tells a story. This whole, everything here, but this cluster here, right? It's like, look how far you've come. Boom. There's something in the communication for a lot of you. Some of you could work, or maybe you create something that involves communication, okay? It's like your experience is what gives you content to create and communicate. Says it all. What do we have at the third eye, please? Wow. The Fool. Vi'uia. The exulting God. Will and new beginnings. Assist with difficult and great undertakings. So, perfect card to get at this third eye position, because this is showing us now this new beginning actually unfolding. And there's a message here surrounding spontaneity and really just taking a chance. I feel that this is framing the energy of this new chapter of your life, Sag. I mean, it really speaks about the Sag energy as well. Getting out there into the world, taking chances, and not really worrying so much about any sort of failure or things not working out, just seeing what sticks and keep going. You know, oftentimes I'll speak about failure being a necessary component to success, because without the failures, it's impossible to narrow down the paths to success, right? You think about the most successful people in the world. These people have failed more than most people know, okay? A lot of the times they don't speak about it. Some of them do, but I think a lot of you would be shocked at how many times these people have failed. And what separates them from a majority of the population is the fact that they got up and kept going. And rather than being scared of their failures defining them, they're confident in allowing the failures to define them because it looks that much better when they're surrounded by that success. It's fun to talk about the failures. So in saying that, Sag, if you can change your mindset around failing, I think you will start to find that success in whatever this is on your path will start to appear on the horizon line. Just get up and keep going. If you fall down, get back up, keep going, have a laugh, dust yourself off, make fun of yourself, and charge forward. The Fool at the third eye. Perfect. Because your third eye is also connected to your imagination and your visions. Hold on to that and charge towards it, Sag. Yes, you'll fall over. Might even scrape up your knees a little bit and get a couple of bruises, but it's all a part of the journey. It's all meant to happen exactly like that because it's more content that you will pull from when you are surrounded by that success. What do we have at the crown to close out for Sag, please? Wow. Wheel of Fortune. Metatron. Sag, that's your energy. The recording angel. Advancement and progress. Teaches, guides, and records events in the book of life. We began with the world and we ended on the Wheel of Fortune. Both of these cards speak about a kind of completion. The Wheel of Fortune is speaking on this new life cycle, this new chapter. It's destiny energy, and it's all about this big picture vision that you have over your life that the divine is telling you to hold on to very tightly. Don't let go. There's some sort of great fortune connected to all of this. Spiritual, material. It's really all one and the same because the spiritual leads to the material because of as above, so below. It's just really a matter of time before it starts flowing into your own personal waking life, into your reality. But the Wheel of Fortune is all about awakening, okay? To go from the world to the Wheel of Fortune speaks on a very transformative, very powerful energy that is embracing you right now, Sag. So there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And remember, rather than being scared to be defined on your failures, allow your failures to define you and do it with a smile. Because if you can take on this kind of mindset, you will become truly unstoppable. Because let's face it, most people are scared to do just that. So however this is showing up for you, Sag, go and get them. Because this is waiting for you. Sag, this is the energy I have available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video, and thank you for your donation, Sag. Take care.